Welcome to the OFX podcast. I'm Dave Claxton. Along with me, as always, is our itty bitty bay basher, Bethany McChesney. Brought to you by Duonamic and Designated Drinks. I'm actually wearing the shirt today, Designated Drinks shirt, but I have to admit I am not having one of their beers because I ran out, so I had to grocery store it up.
Oh.
But it's still non-alcoholic, so
Hmm.
staying true to the vibe.
Mhm.
Um, so okay, so I've deliberately waited how it was around the bay. And before you tell me how your thing was, explain
The
why
race.
this is a cool race because it's
Hmm.
not a marathon.
Yeah, so Around the Bay has so much history. It's actually the oldest race in North America. It started in 1890, 18, it says on my shirt. So in 1894. And it's literally run around the bay, which is exactly 30K. And it started 3 years before Boston, which is often said to be the oldest race in North America, but the around the bay slogan is actually older than Boston. So it's been around a long time. And actually it's interesting because and I did a quick Google search about it. And so the first one in 1894 was done on Christmas Day, and the prize was a trophy and cigars, which is a very odd prize for a race of such distance. Um, but yeah, so it's so cool too because there's all these, and I mean old marathons are like this too, where there's these like pockets of things that are interesting, and like the culture of the race is really cool. So the race itself is not very scenic, which is kind of one of the reasons why like I don't love it, and especially when you get into mountain and trail racing, it's like kind of boring. The first 10 kilometers is run through like an industrial area and like up and over highways. Like it's kind of boring, but it's fast. The first 10K is actually a net downhill, and then you run through residential areas, and then the last 10K is it's hilly, and it destroys you, and in a way that you wouldn't expect from a race of that distance. People say it takes as much out of them as a marathon just because of the hills at the end. And one of the iconic things also about it is there's a long hill, and I think it's changed a little bit because the last time I did it, I remember the hill being longer, and it's at 26 to 27.5K, so it's about a mile and a half incline. And you come out at a graveyard at the top. And so one of the cool things about Around the Bay is there's always this Grim Reaper that stands at the graveyard as you're kind of coming up to the end of this hill. And he's not nice at all. And the first year I did it, I didn't know these things about Around the Bay, and that was like kind of part of the character of it. And the first time I did it, I was dying because I didn't know how to race it. I went out like I was running a half marathon and died so bad in the last 7K. And I summited or came out of the top of this hill, and this the Grim Reaper was like, "You're dying. I'm gonna see you here later." And I was like, "You're so mean." And I like started to tear up. I was like, that was the meanest thing. And so this time I was expecting it. And as we're running by him this time, he says, "You guys should do a real road race, like 100K, enough of these silly 30Ks." And I was like, oh my gosh, like this guy. But people just, I mean, when you get it and it's kind of the culture of the race, there's these little things that are kind of cool. Um, so yeah, there's so much history with it, and it's perfectly planned where it's essentially a month out from like big marathons that are coming, a month out from the Toronto Marathon. We're like 6 weeks till Boston. So it's perfect planning in a marathon build. So it's always really well attended. There's this year that there was over 6,000 participants in the 30K. And then there's a 5K also that's run. So it's kind of the end of the winter, bring in the spring, and you do Around the Bay. It's almost always terrible weather. The last time I did it also was like a snow blizzard. So we had good weather this year, which was really nice. Interesting stat too. The first year that women were allowed to race was only 1979.
Hmm. And did they win?
No, no,
Oh,
but that's crazy to me. It's
yeah.
just, yeah.
It does seem a little bit late, doesn't it? When was the first woman doing Boston?
Well, so in Boston it was in the 60s, but she had to sneak in. So Boston
Yeah.
officially allowed women in the early 70s.
That's odd that we're usually it's Canada that's a little more progressive
Yeah,
usually.
so we followed Boston, but then the women weren't allowed in the Olympic marathon until 84, which is
84.
crazy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because I think like that's when I was a kid, right? Like
Like
I mean
that was in your lifetime. Yeah.
yeah.
That was yeah, year before I was born. Like this like women and like still feeling like there's inequalities. This is still our lifetime when like women weren't allowed to do things. And there was still the belief that if women ran a marathon, bad things would happen to their bodies, like their uterus would fall out, like these ridiculous things. And that's
Is
still
there a
like
guy that does the uterus sweeping behind like everybody as they
right,
go?
like after the marathon. So yeah, like that's still within our lifetime that there is these crazy inequalities with men and women in the sporting world. So like we've come a long way, but we still have a long ways to go on stuff like that. And yeah. So anyways, I thought that was really interesting. Like that's not that long ago that women and around the bay has been around for so long. But yeah, 79 first women.
Wow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I said, that's mind blowing. Um,
Yeah.
is there anything else that we're keeping women out of still?
That's a good question. They still don't always compete in the exact same things, but we don't really keep them out of anything. I mean, the university scene just made women and men race the same distances. Like women always race less in cross country.
Why don't they have to do the pommel horse? Because that is like the stupidest thing ever that men just have to do. It's the worst
Oh,
gymnastic thing.
in gymnastics, I know
Yeah,
the strength-based stuff is a bit different in
I think
gymnastics.
they can do the pommel horse. That's fine. It's terrible. It's the
Yeah.
least entertaining gymnastic thing, I think.
Mhm. So this year, the Around the Bay was the woman that won was Sasha Golish. It was her first time winning Around the Bay, and she's actually so we talked about the Canadian mountain running and trail racing
Yeah.
team. So she is on that team as well. So she went to Worlds last year in Thailand. She didn't compete because she got sick, but she's part of our Canadian mountain racing team also. Sasha does a lot of things. I actually ran with Sasha when I was at Western, and she's not on the younger side. She's 42. She's a bit older than me, and she's still crushing it on the roads, and she's getting more out into trail stuff and mountain racing. So this will be her first year racing at the mountain racing championship. So
That's awesome. Now you said before that you kind of had like a vendetta with this race.
yeah, because of I did it in 2016 and it just went so poorly. So I signed up because I was like, I just want to feel better about it. Because every time someone would mention the race, I'd be like, ugh, it's awful. So I'm like, I need to just do it and kind of have a better experience. And I mean, I did have a better experience. I just had a really, really weird foot issue. And it wasn't something I'd been dealing with at all. So right before, 3 days before the Chicago Deka race, I dropped a metal plate on my foot, taking them off a bar, and really fluky. And it didn't hurt when I ran, so I'm like, I'm just gonna leave this because there was a significant bruising and stuff on the top, but it was okay. I felt fine racing, so I just left it. But there's always been like some nerve damage, like I have numbness and stuff in my foot, and like a bit of a like calcification or a scar tissue buildup along the top. And so, of course, as things go, the day before the race, it started to hurt.
Oh,
So I'd been like trying to like dig out my feet and stuff, just kind of typical race stuff. And I think I shifted some scar tissue and it started to push in on the nerve. So the whole race, I felt like there was this stone like in my foot. And at 16K, there's this drawbridge that's not really made for pedestrians because it has really big grading, and your feet kind of fall into these holes the whole way across. And my foot just went, and it was. I stopped. I tried to crack my foot. Nothing happened. So I was like, I didn't feel like anything was being made worse. And I felt like if I spread my toes and squeeze them constantly, then the pain would get better, which made me think it was nerve, and it was the metatarsal squeezing on the nerve. So I did that for 30K. Um, and so the next day, the pain was primarily in my plantar fascia from squeezing and expanding my toes for 30 kilometers. Yeah, so my foot's going to be fine. It's just a super weird, really, really bad timing for this scar tissue stuff. And yeah.
Right. Before we get into some other stuff, when you talked about the foot thing, that kind of jarred something. So, a dude at work today, and I'll tell him to listen to this now because um, he asked me about the whole. First, he mentioned barefoot running, right? And I kind of told him, it was a bit of a trend, and I mean, you don't see, Olympic marathoners running barefoot, blah, blah, blah. And then he asked about, stuff like zero drop shoes, and I wear zero drop shoes, but then like, minimalist shoes and stuff like that. And I'm not an expert on shoes by any stretch of the imagination or anything, but so you probably know a lot more about that than me. But I did tell him that I don't really see the benefits of trying to get your body into that position. So maybe you have a whack at that one.
Barefoot running?
Yeah.
Oh,
Or even minimalist shoes.
yeah, I think this was a bit of a trend. I don't know, when was it? 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Trying to get people as back to their natural state as possible, which included running. They also found that people who wore more minimalist shoes, they improved their foot strike. So you can't be as much of a heel striker or a toe runner. You run much more natural when you're in very minimalist shoes. But the problem is that people kind of jumped from their like 14 mil drop super cushion shoes to minimalist shoes, and then we have all these issues. So if you worked yourself into it, you could be fine. But the thing is too is we didn't grow up this way either. So you've probably spent the first however many years of your life wearing shoes when you do all activities. So our structure just isn't really, without a significant amount of training, isn't really that easily just switched into like pure minimalist shoes. Um, so yeah, like you really don't see it anymore. And there's also the issue of like foot protection. I mean, you step on a stone in a minimalist shoe and it hurts. Like it's not, and then all of a sudden you have a little fracture in a metatarsal. Like, so I don't know. It came and went. I do remember after, so probably, I guess it was about 15 years ago. I remember lining up at some road races and people were in bare feet. And like, that's just, we're running on streets here. And they would tape their toes. Actually, when I raced in Algeria, so the cross country world championships, and this was 2006. So this was probably when it was big. There was a whole team that just had taped feet and they were not wearing shoes.
What's the benefit? That's what I see. I don't get, like, I know the risks, right? And the dangers, a lot of Achilles problems, all that stuff like that,
Mhm.
right? But I don't know the benefit. I've yet to understand the
Yeah.
upside.
Well, I think it had to do with your form and the way you foot strike, and then it, like, over time it would help strengthen like your Achilles and the tendons and stuff. But so what my coach in university then did, we would never run without shoes, but we did all of our drills and strides in bare feet.
Mm.
Um, to again kind of help to strengthen the feet, but like we would never have ran without them. Mhm.
I don't know. I just think the kind of risk reward there thing for me isn't there. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
especially for like your average runners and not competing or something like that. Like if you're running and you're not hurting yourself and I think you're doing just fine. You don't need to screw with it, right? Like if you can
Yeah,
run
the injury
long
risk
distance.
is so high as it is when you're pounding pavement.
Yeah, like if you're already running fine and you're not getting shin splints or you're not getting Achilles problems or you're not getting knee problems, just keep doing what you're doing because you're doing it right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I I never really, I mean, I have had so many foot injuries, so I would never really attempt the extreme minimalist shoe thing, but at the same time, like track spikes are about as minimalist as it gets.
Yeah.
But that's so different too. I mean, you're talking like you're running really fast over a much shorter amount of time than like your road marathons and stuff.
The bottom of track spikes are pretty hard too, aren't they?
Yeah, they're pretty rigid. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, whereas like you think with the minimalist shoes is generally just like a thin layer of rubber and things like for me, I always think things can get protrude through there and you get cut, you can get twisted. And, I don't know. It just
Yeah.
didn't seem worth it to me. But anyway,
Yeah.
there you go, Bartek. His name's Bartek or Bartats. It's fancy. I can't say it right. I just call him Bartek.
Hmm.
You don't call him Bart.
This is gonna be like Philip Toe.
Philip Toe. Bart. Yeah. Oh, well, we'll talk about that later. But all right. So yeah, I didn't mean to get you off topic there. It came to me. So all in all, revenge completed. Happy.
Um, yeah, I'm still a bit shocked at how much it took out of me after like the 23, 24K mark. So, when I finished, I was like, yep, I'll never do this again. I'm good. But then, there's always, and this happens with everyone who ever does distances where they feel like the distance like kind of got to them is like, maybe if I just did a little bit more mileage, I'd feel a little bit better. Then it's like, could I run faster? So I'm not saying I'm never going to do it again. I probably will. But yeah, I had a much better experience. Yeah. And Jeff did it with me again, and running with someone too makes the experience all that much better. So we're very similar right now in our running paces. And so yeah, it was good to do it with him also. And for him, every step after 21K was his longest run ever. So that's a pretty big jump.
Yep.
So yeah. Hmm.
That's awesome. That's good. I
Hmm.
mean, here's the thing, secret. I actually like the long stuff. I don't mind it. I don't like training for it. I find that boring as hell. But a long race, well, that 30K long, that would probably bore me to death. But like,
Hmm.
endurance stuff is not that bad. I just don't like to train for it. I prefer
Hmm.
spicy. But that's awesome. Your pictures look great and looked like a good
Hmm.
time. And yeah, it did look like you have good weather. And did you get your name up on the stadium as you came in?
I didn't see if they do that. The stadium
Oh,
thing is done now. Uh, so you come into Cobb's Coliseum, which is really cool. So they're taking a break from it, and we're going into like a baseball diamond now. But I think it's just short term because they're doing renovations.
okay.
Yeah.
By the way, this race is the only reason to go to Hamilton ever.
Yeah.
No other reason to go to. There's a decent go kart track there, and I used to go there for a hockey tournament. But other than that, it's just Hamilton. Sorry, guys. Maybe if they get a Deka gym. Oh, they have a good ninja gym. There you go.
They do. Okay.
They do good, important stuff. Um, so I did Deka this weekend. This
Hmm.
is the first one you missed, and I had a backward step because I tried to go out a little too hot,
Hmm.
and and then I looked at my splits, and it wasn't that much, and it just tilted me over the edge, and then
Hmm.
something I looked at my splits and I was stunned by. I lost 9 seconds on my sit-ups.
Oh, weird.
And
Were
that's
your
something
arms
that
fatigued?
no, I was
Oh,
fine. And that's something that I normally fly through. Like that's usually
yeah.
that's one of the few things I usually make ground on you on. And it's like,
Hmm.
yeah, I was slow as molasses on it. I was like, what the hell? What happened there? Anyway, but and then strangely enough, I bled time at the end, but then somehow when my fastest burpees. It was just all a mess. But anyway,
Huh.
I think it made me realize again that I was right before. Just keeping that steady calm and do what I do, and then keep working on the finish, and I'll get there.
Yeah. Well, it's
Um,
good to you took a chance on something
yeah,
and see if you could take some time off on some of the early machines. So,
yeah, and you got to play with stuff sometimes and see what happens. All in all, so it was Deca Strong at SO Fitness by Sandy Osler's gym, and was another sell. It was great. It was good fun. Amber and Zach were there from Pure Impact, and they set another record for the strong. They beat their own record. Now,
mhm.
somebody else this weekend I know did one, and I'm not sure if they beat them. It's going to be really close. They may
At a
have,
different event.
yeah, at a different event. Yeah. So that, but they were fast. They flew. They looked really good doing it.
Hmm.
And what else? I ended up coming second, which is great. Which is I'm happy with that. I got beat by Pat there, who
Pat Millington.
oh sorry, that's right. I tied for second with Brendan Neely.
Right.
He and
Uh-huh.
I got the exact same time, 14:24.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Pat too, who won your race there. He came in and he threw down a 13:07.
Hmm.
So that was a really impressive time. And he broke a wall, which was not as good, but that's okay.
He
Seriously, like,
literally broke a wall.
yeah, he literally broke a wall. So like he finished his last ram burpee and dropped it, and it bounced and hit the drywall and put a big crack, and big hole in the drywall. So those things become little projectiles when they land on their edge. But yeah, he's like, I'll pay for that. So good guy and put in a great time. We did have some discussions about possibly doing a strong together that
Hmm.
day, and but he had to bail. He had to take off, which is too bad. We would have liked to see if we could have put down a good time, but
Hmm.
yeah, he threw down. He really looked good there, and uh, yeah, again, Amber had a great time. She was just a few seconds behind me, so she put in really good. It again, every time I do these, you learn stuff, but to still learn some things to work on and some spots to get better. And it does encourage me that I'm like, oh, I feel like I have all this room for improvement.
Yeah.
Whereas I thought, well, if you got to the point where it was like, I think I'm stuck or plateaued,
Hmm.
and how do I get faster? I don't feel like that. I feel like, oh my God, there's so many things I could do better, and I
Yeah.
could be so much fitter. So there's
Hmm.
that kind of makes me happy.
It's the fun part in the sport, I find. When you start plateauing, it gets a little bit more like mentally you have to stick in it a bit better.
Yeah.
But this is the fun part.
And you missed out on one thing there. So Amber and Zach brought a young girl from their gym. I'm not gonna say her name because I didn't ask her if I could mention her. But she came up to me and she said, "Oh my God, I love your podcast. I listen to it all the time when I run, and sometimes I listen to the repeats, which will run again." And I was just like,
Oh,
"Oh, that's so sweet. That's so nice." And she said her favorite episodes are the ones with Tara Jackson.
oh,
She
really?
likes her some Tara Jackson. So
Cool.
thank you again. You know who you are, and
Hmm.
next time I'll ask if I can mention you. Um, so it was a great event. It was another good Canadian event, and sadly for me, I will be missing the next two.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I know
Well,
you're
I'm missing the
missing
next one.
next one, which
Yeah.
is that's the Pure
You're in.
Impact mile,
Yeah.
and then I think it's the mile at Sandy. I think she's doing a mile. I think after that one, but at SO Fitness, and I'll be in North Carolina, Deka Fit for that one,
Hmm.
which I'm really excited about. That's gonna be a good one
Yeah.
for me. Speaking of Tara Jackson, gonna
Yeah.
drag me around the course.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, um,
Have you
lots of
talked to Tara since Miami?
yeah, a little bit. Yeah. She
Hmm.
said, and I'm hoping that we can have her on soon. Maybe her or Dylan or something like that. Dylan had a rough day, so on the good, Tara won her, and I think she ran open. I think she ran the open weight this time, which was because I think she ran both. Um,
Yeah.
so I think she ran open. She won that, and her and Dylan won the co-ed.
Hmm.
And then Dylan ended up fourth in the men's pro because he pretty much overheated
Yeah.
and yeah, he had a rough go on that one. So that was a rough day, but all in all, I mean, our High Rocks OFX dream team come through with another win. So yay,
Yeah.
team OFX there.
So the times, like, so when I saw this race, when I heard it was being run on the beach, I assumed it would be like hard packed sand. It was
Mhm.
like messy, loose sand. It looked, that is the most frustrating thing to run on. And yeah, like their team time was a 105. Like,
Yeah. So when they first announced this, I said, "This is bloody stupid. This is a dumb idea,
yeah.
right?" And part of me still thinks that way. Like if they had done this in the south of France, where in Europe, where they have billions of high rocks events and
Hmm.
tons of times to qualify and put in good times, I would have think, what a cool, unique, and fun event. That's
Because it's a
great.
throwaway as far as times are concerned.
Total throwaway.
Yeah.
Looked like a great party, a great workout, la da 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 da. Everybody in bathing suits and bikinis on podiums and
Yeah.
whatever. Everybody looked like they were having a great time, except for
Yeah.
those that were passing out from heat exhaustion. But otherwise, looked like they were having a great time. It looked like a very cool setup. The sleds apparently were on a bit of a slope.
I heard that too.
So
Yeah.
was what it was. And as an event that was fun and novelty, they apparently pulled it off very well. But in my mind, it robbed a lot of North American athletes who are not going to have enough chances to put in good qualifying times of another time. I would have much rather just seen it in a convention center like normal, and then they could have had a beach party after.
Yeah. So
Because
for perspective, the men's winning time, Garrett Mitchell was a 1:20.
yeah, so
And
that's only like 20 minutes off the pace.
right. And the women's winning time, Trish Higgin was 1:31.
Yeah,
We're
it's a bit
like
off.
30 minutes. Yeah. Yeah.
30 minutes off the pace. So
Hmm.
so there was no change to the top 16,
No.
top
No.
15. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's like I said, I mean I'm more on the anti High Rocks Miami, but I still see the value in it as a cool, unique event. It just
Hmm. And
possibly
the other thing was that I was a bit surprised. I kind of thought that the stations themselves would be indoors, so you would get a bit of reprieve from the heat, but it was all just like in a tented area. So
yeah, it
like
was like
there
under a
were
big wedding tent kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. So that's hot. Like you're overheating and that's a long time to go.
Did you
Uh,
see that one story of Tara running behind Dylan and Dylan throwing water at her?
yeah, yeah, like that would be
Yes.
awful. And I've had heat sickness before. I lived in Dubai, and that is not something to mess with too. Like that really messes you up. So I don't know. That stuff just makes me nervous, but it's like a personal, I had a really bad experience with it. So
Every time I go to like an all-inclusive resort on like day three, I'm good for a day in the room because I've overheated and got
yeah,
sunstroke. So
yeah,
it's like that's my day to check out the uh, local cable and get room service. It's
yeah.
horrible, yeah, because you feel nauseous, you feel weak, you feel completely beat. I don't know if I ever told this story. So I did go to one of those places one time and sitting there in the pool, the pool bar and everything, and there was this monstrous man there. I mean, this is like one of the biggest dudes I've ever seen. And we'll go and talk to him, and it turns out his name's Terry Holland, and he's one of the top world's strongest men competitors.
Oh,
So dude's like 6'6", 6'7", near 400 pounds, and
yeah.
just and he was out there in that pool. We went and dinner and moved around and did all that. So he stayed in that pool the whole time, smoking cigars and drinking beer and getting redder and redder and redder. And yeah, well, I don't. Hopefully, he got out to pee. I didn't know, but didn't see him for 3 days after.
Oh,
Yeah, he finally came back like fourth day, covered head to toe, and talked to me. He's like, "Yeah, I couldn't move. I was done. I was nauseous and puke. It was terrible." So
yeah.
sunstroke's no. It's rough. So
Hmm.
hopefully everybody was it suntan lotion, had their suntan lotion or suntan lotion, sunscreen on, and
Yeah. And all the
hats. Lots of
electrolyte.
hats. You needed
Yeah.
the Matt Fraser hat,
Yeah. The
big
big
bucket hat.
Philly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so anyway, it did look like fun of it, but a throwaway, which is kind of sad because I know some people would have liked to. I mean, I'm sure Rich Ryan would have been there if it had been one to put in a good time, and
Yeah.
you know, anyway, it was what it was. What else went on? Other side of the world, Stockholm,
Yeah.
High Rocks, the most predictable record break ever.
Yeah. Yeah. Michaela and Meg uh won, shocking the doubles women's high rock. So and they set a world record 54:42. They were a solid 6 minutes ahead of the second place team. So and again, no surprise there. Yeah, they made the decision. They talked about joining forces back in Chicago and they made it happen here in Stockholm. So pretty blistering fast. And the
Yeah,
thing to remember, and I always forget this because I watch the videos and I'm like, whoa, they're moving that stuff so fast with it. They use the women's open weights.
Hmm.
So like it changes so that anything to do with weight, it's so fast. So their sled push was a minute 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you watch the video and it's like, geez, they're running. Oh yeah, it's half the weight of the pro. So their push was 106. I looked this up because I'm like, how fast did they do these things with lightweight? So their push was 106, which is hilariously
Yeah.
fast.
Well, that's kind of
Pull,
normal for European sleds anyway.
yeah, I know. Yeah. Their pull was 216. The farmers carry 116. Again, running with
I'm
the
sure they'd be full run. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and probably one of them did it. I don't know for sure. Their wall balls 226, and it's only 75 wall balls.
Yeah.
And then the lunges 202.
You think? And I didn't see the video. I was busy at Deka at the time, and I haven't been able to because apparently, well, not only that, some of the other ones, I think some of the other ones were streamed, and then they didn't save them, and I hate that, and it drives me nuts. But someone should have streamed that race, knowing that what was going to happen. But do you
Hmm.
think do you know like did one of them just do the wall ball straight through? Because I think they would actually lose time if they switched. Because either
Okay.
one of them could have went unbroken.
Yeah, I think they split it up because I saw a video of them both doing it.
So they probably could have been a couple seconds faster than.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, I think from what I saw, they split up most things. Mhm.
Well, I mean that's cool. It's great. I when I first noticed the women's open weights in the relay was when Heather White and Kelly
Yeah.
Sullivan were doing it in Chicago, and Heather was walking backwards and hand over hand pulling at the same time. So she was
Yeah,
doubling up. She wasn't choosing between either or. She was doing both.
both.
I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a little light for them. But
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah. So anyway, good weekend for High Rocks.
Yeah. And Dave Medina went over there and won.
Yeah, and I like seeing Dave McGinn. He went sub 60 again.
Yeah.
He is definitely on a roll.
Mhm.
And I'm sure they're all just prepping for Hunter for Worlds there and getting ready for
Yeah.
what that is,
Yeah.
which is going to be so exciting. By the way, we didn't mention this for Deka events. You and I will be doing commentary for Deka North Cal this
Hmm.
Saturday at I believe it's 10:30 Eastern. Check it out. It's on OCR report. I can't remember the exact time, but I'm pretty sure it's 10:30 Eastern. And some good people that are going to be there. We got Ryan Kent going out. You got Ryan Kent and you got Lauren Weeks. That is enough right there. But there's more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was. Is it? Who else did we have for the men there? I'm trying to remember. I think we had. Yeah, well, it'll come to me later.
We will see this weekend.
We will
I
see this.
forget. I've watched a lot of races in the last
Yeah,
bit.
it's all gotten jumbled up.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a good race, and it'll be excellent commentary. So
Hmm. The best.
the best. Speaking of commentary too, and I was very impressed with this, and I take my hats off to OCR Report for this because we were talking about this before you and I. Savage Race had their opening of their point series this weekend, and for the first time I think I know of, they had OCR commentary with two women,
Yeah.
and I thought that was super cool, and I thought they
Yeah.
did a great job.
Hmm.
Um,
They did do
so
a really good job.
yeah, you managed to check it out after.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, and and I've said this to her personally. She has the best voice in OCR. It's true. She's
Is
got
it the
great.
accent?
No, it's not just the accent. She's just so well spoken.
She
The
is.
accent is cool, but she's so well spoken as well, and that just brings it up. I
Yeah.
mean, it's way more professional than me.
And then there was an athlete. Is it Miranda
Branda Huber,
Huber? Yeah. So that always adds to it too, right? When there's someone who would be in the mix.
and she is a knowledgeable Savage racer who would be right in the mix in that top five race there.
Yeah.
So she's good. So I sent you a few things on there though, and normally everybody flags Spartan. And there's always Spartan screwed this up and this judging controversy and this and this and this. And Savage often flies under the radar because they are loved, because they're so well liked.
Hmm.
And they're so well liked because they generally do a really good job. They listen to their clientele and they're really in tune. They take advice. So they're a great company. But they got a bit of heat on this one. And they have been all this year, and I'll go into why, one of the theories as to why. But So what did you think, first off, of some of the implementations of the new obstacles and some of the judging controversy things?
So the one that I would say would be the biggest controversy was the tire toss.
Hmm.
And this one really confused me too. So, and I'm assuming this is the one you're talking about, but you have to toss a tire and it lands on a pole. So it didn't look like it was super far. And so it looked to me, because I tried to find actual rules and I couldn't find them, but it looked to me like you just had to get it on. It didn't necessarily have to stay. And I'm only assuming that because Ryan Kempson got the tire on, it bounced off, and he was allowed to go. And then when I watched the women, it was Jamie and Chrissy McFarlane, they got it on, and then I see them continuing to do it, but then I saw after Chrissy just little slipped and her hand touched. So if you fall forward in front of the beam that you have to stand behind,
Hmm.
if you fall forward at all and any part of your body goes in front of the beam, then you have to do it again, even if you got the tire on. So those are the only rules that I saw around it. So I can see some definite controversy with that one, particularly because Kempson was allowed to keep running after his tire fell off.
So it's my understanding, and this was from something that was posted on Instagram. It was actually a comment by the guy who owns Savage, and oh my God, his name is gapping on me right now. But he actually owns Savage, and he said that the tire needs to stay on. So the judge or the volunteer or whoever did it was at the time dropped the ball with Kempson coming through, which is kind of bad because I mean that's the first guy of the day. so so that sucks. But yeah, so that was I mean you can't blame Kempson for that. He was told you're good, go run.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, so it's supposed to stay on. And then a lot of the women, what we saw them having problems with was they were either putting their hands across the line where the log was or the wood was, or
Hmm.
stepping over or whatever. And that's apparently the no-no there too.
Yeah.
So it has to rest on there without you running off. All that said, I'm sorry, it's a stupid obstacle.
Well, again, it's kind of like that spear throw where
I
like
think
there's
it's worse.
kind of some luck involved. Yeah,
Like it,
worse.
the spear throw at least looks kind of cool.
That's true.
This just looks like honestly, it looks like we got drunk on the cottage and just started going, hey, let's throw this tire on the pole. If you miss, you drink.
Yeah, it is a bit of an awkward one. And I mean, with Savage too, because it's mandatory completion before you move on, there was only maybe 10 lanes. So, I mean, I don't know what it would look like after the top people come through and people are still trying to get this tire on.
Yeah. Like I don't mind the the concept. Like they have that scornhole one, which is essentially a 35 pound wall ball into the thing. And I don't mind that one, right? Like
Yeah,
I'm all for some different obstacles, but this one just it's just a miss.
yeah.
It looks just yeah, it's just no, it's no good. I
Mhm.
will say this though, I I thought it looked stupid when they released it, and I think it's stupid. But the other one where you go through the net and you spin one way and then you go further and you spin the other
Oh,
way, I'm okay with it now.
you
What?
are?
Yep. I'm like, I don't want to do it,
I don't want to do that one at all.
but the fact that I don't want to do it doesn't mean it's a bad obstacle.
Okay, but what I
That
was
is
picturing was like my ponytail gets stuck in those things, my buckle gets stuck in the things, and then it's end up ripping, and then it's a big catastrophe, and I'm all tangled up in this net like a fish in the water.
Wardrobe malfunctions everywhere.
Yeah, my shorts are coming off, and my hair's coming out.
Who is it? Oh my God, who came third?
The men or women?
Women.
Jamie.
Jamie Hornopoulos.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway,
Something. Yep.
she was on Obstacle Running Adventures, and I just listened on my commute home, and she said her bra got stuck
Oh,
in the net
yeah.
on it, and yeah, so she said the same
Sometimes
thing.
there's
She said,
little clips. Like, can you imagine the things that get stuck on that? It looked awful.
"No static electricity in the hair," Riley's. All right,
Oh, yeah. I didn't. I was like, oh, that looks so awful.
so
And even the chances of it ripping, it seemed like I don't know. It just looked like a bit of a
Okay,
disaster.
okay.
Can you want to change your mind now?
Yeah, maybe I'm open to being talked out of my mind change. That's fine.
Dave, you're bald. You have no hair issues, so
And
that's
it's
a
my
no.
issue. It's my advantage. I'll take
No
it.
bra, no hair.
No bra, no hair.
You
Yeah.
don't get to say so much.
Yeah.
Um. Okay. So, would you rather do that or Thor's Grundle?
What's Thor's Grundle?
Oh, it's like the grossest obstacle ever, and I think is it only in Georgia? I don't know if they move
No,
it around,
but
but
I hope that my indecisiveness tells you how much I don't like the net one.
yeah, yeah. So Thor's Grundle is I've only done Savages in that
Ask
in
her
that
what
Georgia
Grundle
place.
means.
You know what Grundle means?
No.
Okay, it's taint.
Taint.
Does she know what taint means?
All right.
Oh,
Put the kids to bed.
Okay.
It's the bit of your body between your yoo-hoo and your butt.
Okay, I know where you're going.
So it's Thor's Grundle.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, essentially it's just a big mud pit and you got to go under. You got to fully submerge yourself under this wall, which is like a lot of dunk walls. But the problem is it's at a horse park, and as Riley likes to call it, it's perhaps mud.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
mud-ish.
mud like,
Yeah.
So there's a
Okay.
lot of other things in
Okay.
that mud.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's gross. So I just asked her, she's often had a problem with that obstacle. So which one would you rather do? And she hesitated.
Yeah.
So she must not like that net.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did watch and I saw it. That was another thing too, was I saw a certain point, and I think it was Roberts going through what I thought was Thor's Grundle, but he would go under one and then up over the other
Over.
one. And I'm not sure that that's supposed to be done that way, but I don't think anyone was there. So again, can't blame him. He's just doing what he
Yeah.
thinks it is. I mean, if he had thought if he had wanted to cheat, he would have went over top of everything. So he's just doing what he thinks the obstacle
But it
is.
wouldn't be faster to go over top.
It sure would be a lot less gross.
Well, it was
well,
pretty
let's chance
clean
of
when he
eye
went through.
infections.
Yeah, but you know what I mean though. So they're having, I think they're having some issues there with the rules, and then we had some definitive bell whiffs.
Yes. I didn't see any, but you mentioned one.
Okay, so I was two. I sent you videos too. You didn't do your homework.
You sent me videos.
I
Where?
sent you. I
We
sent you.
messaged like five
I
different
sent you a
places.
YouTube link, and it had times on it.
Okay. You'll have in which messaging app did you send me?
I don't know. We really should narrow down on that. It is confusing. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
All right. So the first one is on one obstacle. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the obstacle, but essentially it's a Tarzan swing onto like a pallet wall, climb over
Mhm.
the wall, and then Tarzan swing the bell. I kind of like it. It's not bad. It's not super challenging, but it's a nice obstacle. So I saw one elite, and he went on and then came off the other side, and he was right close to the camera. So I'm assuming the volunteer was there, and whiffed completely by the bell. Nothing. Off he goes. So there's that one. And then the big one that seems to be causing a stir and a little bit of controversy online and some call outs is Alex Walker. For obvious reasons, she came second place, and Alex Walker is an amazing racer. So if she does something wrong, it's going to get called out. So she's on that new shelf obstacle,
Mhm.
and she gets to the end. The bell is kind of swinging, as sometimes they do on rigs, and it looks like she kind of kicks for it, misses, comes off, looks around like kind of a little confused, and then is told you're good and go. So I noticed that when I watched it right away. And when I first time watched it, rewound, watched it, I'm like, oh, she missed that bell. And then so I messaged her about it, and she told me, she says, yeah, I kicked at the bell. I think I hit it, and I offered to do it again, but the judge said, you got it. It's swinging. You got it. So off she
Okay.
went. So I would not come down on Alex for this because, I mean, she did offer to do it again. I think, and I've had similar things before where I've come off and like, did I get it? Did I not? I'm not sure. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
There was one time I hit a bell and I didn't think I hit it, and the judge or volunteer said, "Nope, you got it. You're good." Because
Yeah.
I like totally, it was a low rig, and I flung my hand backwards and I just fingernailed it.
Yeah.
And anyway, so she didn't know. In reality, when you watch the video, it looks pretty clear cut and dry. But when you're hanging up there and you're looking up at your hands, you might think your foot was within a centimeter of it or you clipped it. And
Yeah.
reality is you're nowhere near it. But
Yeah.
so again, she was called out online. And I kind of think everybody's right. Yeah, she she missed it.
Hmm.
And yeah, she was told to keep going because so I believe her. And I
Yeah,
believe there is an issue with like there was just the I think what happened is the judge was
didn't see.
yeah, didn't see and then saw the bell swinging after she made a kick for it. Um
Yeah.
and and said, yeah, yeah, you got it. So
Hmm.
that was a judging mistake. There was a funny comment where the one girl goes, "What did you kick at it with your invisible third leg? Because you were nowhere near it."
Oh, well,
So
and again, at the end of the day, like if the judge says go, then you go.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, and I absolutely think if I was in that situation and I didn't know and the judge said go, I would have went.
Yeah,
And I don't think there's many other people that would say differently. Like when the
yeah.
judge says you got it,
You're not gonna be like, no, I'm going to do it again.
yeah,
Just, like if you really didn't know, then
yeah, especially when you're racing for cash,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
You're gonna the judge says I got it, I'm good to go. So
Yeah,
so say
yeah,
the and then I take this back to like wall balls all the time. If the judge tells you you're hitting depth,
yeah,
you're hitting depth.
exactly. Hmm.
You know. So anyway, but this spawned an idea in my head. This year, Savage upped prize money.
Yeah,
I think they shouldn't have upped prize money. They should have took that money and paid proper judges to man the obstacles.
yeah,
It's just a thought. What further advances the sport? Prize money to draw out big athletes or proper officiating so that the sport is legitimate?
yeah. I see your point. I just think the money is what's drawing the pros, though, and so maybe this year, and it's not. I mean, not just because someone's a volunteer are they not necessarily a good judge. Like, so
Oh,
these circumstances, we might have just had some random incidents too where a judge was afraid to call out a bigger named pro, which happens in all sports. Like, you don't want to call out the Tia Tumis of the world because of their names and they're infallible. So I
you mean
don't.
like Michael Jordan traveling?
Right. Yeah. So, I don't think it's necessarily, I think educate the judges well, give them confidence to use their voice, call out whoever makes mistakes. This is what you look for. And I think the prize money going to the athletes I think it's a good idea. It's going to draw, especially with Spartan getting rid of their prize money. I think that was the right move.
Hmm. Okay. Not that I have an extra grind, but I had referees who were paid properly would help instruct those people.
Yeah. Maybe.
Maybe. But anyway, it was a good race. Christopher Glasky won. Ryan Kempson came out with a win. Um, Sean Robertson second, followed by Rylan. Rylan making his kind of savage debut.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it was Chris, then Alex, and then
Jamie.
Hor
Jamie?
Horanop
Jamie.
Hori Jamie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Napalapalapidis. It's really close. I want to say it's Hornopolis, but I know it's not. There's like an I sound in there somewhere.
I think it's Horniopolis or something. There's
Yeah,
an
yeah,
extra, there's something else in there. It's a
yeah,
long
yeah,
name.
yeah. I can't do that one or Kilpinski. Or did I do it right that time? I got it right.
Kilpinski? Yeah.
Kilpinski. I used to say
Mm.
Kaplinski.
Yeah, that was what you used
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh,
Hmm.
whatever. If you people would just get easy names, it would be fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was. Yeah, 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 yeah. Like High Rocks, yeah. It would be. It was a good event, and they looked like they had a great race. And I think they're going to have even more elites out for the next one.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. I still say there's too many races in the series, but I hope they do well. You know what though? And I thought about this. So where are they? Where are all these athletes who are so pissed at Spartan for cutting down the distance and oh, it's not a real obstacle race anymore? Whoa, Savage is still a real obstacle race.
Yeah.
Where the hell are you?
So yeah, I was thinking about this too, and I think there's just now too with the rise of hybrid racing, I think we've just given athletes more options. So some people have moved more into hybrid racing to kind of see what they can do there. Personally, hybrid racing is much easier for people to train for
Hmm.
who are not living near the mountains, which Spartan moved entirely to mountain racing almost. Savage races are also really in one side of North America,
Mhm.
which does kind of limit them in that way, in their appeal to certain athletes on the other side of the continent. And then I've seen a lot of Spartan athletes also move to trail racing. Their passion was kind of there too, and they wanted to stay in the mountains in the longer races. So I think people have just kind of explored another area. And just kind of in what I've observed of the people that I kind of follow and where they're going now. So yeah, I think they're spreading it out a little bit with hybrid racing and mountain running and just kind of trying other things that their interest might have been in before, but they were just really stuck in the Spartan world.
Interest. That makes sense. I don't like it.
Well, this was the first one. It's still early season, so we'll see what happens after this. I think you'll see a lot more pros coming to the Savage Race series.
Yeah, not if they got to throw tires.
Some of the obstacles were a little bit goofy, but
The one they didn't use though that I liked, I thought was really good is it's give and take.
okay.
And essentially, you've seen their anchors away obstacle
Oh yeah, so they combined them.
with Gibbons. And I
Yeah,
thought that looks pretty cool. Now, in reality, when you break it down, it's an easier Gibbons, but
yeah,
it's still kind of cool. And I'm like, that's creative. I like that.
yeah,
I hope they put that in the next pro ways, perhaps, and take out that tire thingy and put that in. That would be okay.
yeah. Even the log climb was kind of like okay.
So here's the thing: take out the tire thing, put in give and take out the log thingy, and put in wheel world because they took wheel world out this time. They didn't have that, and that's one of their iconic obstacles, which
Yeah, it
I've
is.
done before and is a lot of fun to do. It's always a great one,
Yeah.
and yeah, I would like to see that. So hopefully they hit that. I mean, not every obstacle they make is going to be a home run. I'm glad they experiment.
Yeah.
I'm glad they innovate, and that's really cool.
Mhm.
Um, and I was turned around on the net thing, and now I'm turned around again. So sorry, I tried. But yeah, so it was good. Yeah, I just realized though, I don't have a Savage in the calendar this year, and I should. I should be hunting for a Blitz,
Mhm.
but
Yeah, I
now,
don't either, but I mean, watching the one this weekend, they do look really fun. They do a really good job, so we might try
yeah,
to make it work.
there's two things I thought that I should be hunting for too. Is like one the Savage Blitz I should be looking for, and who knows, maybe late in the year I will look at that, and a Spartan Stadium. I've always wanted to do one. Spartan
Hmm.
Stadium be good because you do still have like you've got some stuff like you'll have an exercise, you'll have a assault bike in them, you'll have some repetition based movements in them, and then you'll have some obstacles as well, and
Yeah.
a lot of stairs. So
Yeah.
yeah, but that's on the bucket list for sure. You got to check those
Hmm.
out.
Hmm.
Yeah. Other than that, you'd be proud of me today.
What's that?
So I was on my way home, driving home. I got a new little car, by the way. I did get it. It looks like a small toaster.
It's a commuter car.
Yes, it's a commuter car. It's like saves me half the money of my van, but it looks
Mhm.
like a toaster. Anyway, so I was on my way today. I had a headache, didn't feel good. But I got home and I put on my gear and I got on the treadmill and I did my workout as prescribed by me. But I had written it earlier, so it was evidence that that was what I was
Mhm.
supposed to do, and got it done. So
Mhm.
so that
Nice.
was good. Thanks
Good.
to I might have had some push. I might have had some help.
Hmm. Good. We
But
need that.
yeah, exactly. So you've been proud of me. And so everybody knows. I know what happens to everybody. We don't always feel like it. We're not always motivated. We're not always dedicated.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just go one step at a time. Put on the gear.
Just
Okay.
start. Yeah.
Put on the shoes. Okay. I'll do the warm up and then I'll quit. No,
Yeah.
just
You play these little tricks in your mind, right? To
yeah.
just kind of, and I mean, I didn't feel like working out today. I still can't really bend at the knees. And so it's like I'll do everything that involves not bending at the knees. I didn't feel like it, but again, you're like, I'll just do 5 minutes here. And then you kind of get into it. And then once the endorphins start flowing, you usually don't quit in the first 5 minutes. So yeah, it's just the little walls that you have to get over to actually get started.
Well, and I have been doing some stuff to where you would be, not only did I do my workout today, but I worked squat cleans,
Mhm.
which are not something I do very often or like.
Mhm.
And I worked double unders.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. And I ran. So this is like a workout that,
Wow.
yeah, nothing I
All the
want to
all the things that Dave doesn't like.
all at once.
Yeah.
So now I don't have to worry about them for the rest of the week.
Take them off your box. I worked double unders this week, and I'm not
That's right.
tripping again.
No, they didn't go as bad as I thought they would either because I haven't done any
Hmm.
since last year. And I'll be honest, like I can't string them together,
Hmm.
but I can do like a double under, 1-2 jumps, double under, 1-2 jumps, double under, 1-2 jumps. So I
Oh,
mean,
I should try that strategy.
getting closer, but
Hmm.
um, hopefully Dennis from RX1 is not listening to this and doesn't put double unders in for what is it,
The
April
first
27th,
29th. Yeah.
29th?
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I so if you are doing RX1, which all of you should try an RX1, it is a lot of fun. One of the greatest secrets in Quebec, which we try not to keep secret.
Yeah.
And if you want to do one, message me. Join Team OFX and we'll go out there and
Hmm.
do some damage. He said, like I tried to browbeat him for information, and I got very
Yeah.
little. He didn't give up much. He didn't give up much. All he
Yeah.
said was, as a rule, there tends to be less running near the beginning of the season.
Okay, that's good.
That's all I got.
Yeah,
So
nice.
I'm guessing through
Three.
That's
two.
not good for Bethany.
Yeah.
Bethany gets other advantages, so we don't care.
It's good because I have like my mom's coming, and so
Yes.
she doesn't want to run that much. So it
Yeah.
might
So
convince her to do a second one.
I'm gonna guess in around the 3K mark,
Yeah.
which if
Hmm.
last year was anything to remember, right? Like I mean, that was I think our first race we went out
It was
was was
3K.
was 3K.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna guess. I do know that I have been to this venue, and it is not. We're not gonna be running on the road. It's gonna be on like a nice, wide open trails,
Nice.
non-technical.
Okay, nice.
So it's a nice place. It's right on the water. There's usually they set up some of the workouts is right along the beach, the
Cool.
workout zones. So it's pretty cool. It'll be
Hmm.
a great time. So for RX1, yeah, and there'd be a lot of us out there. We gotta get a hotel. We gotta find a
Yeah.
hotel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know. We're late on that.
is what it is.
Hmm.
All right, cool. You got anything else for today?
Yes, in other big news, I was
Oh
following this
yes, I
all weekend
forgot.
long. And as I'm in agony over running 30K, I'm extremely embarrassed that Camille Herron ran 435 kilometers over the weekend and set a world record for women, although it is also the third overall in the world for a 48-hour for distance race. So
Did you work out the pace?
yeah, I did. So, the first 24 hours, she was actually on a 5:15, and then she averaged out to a 6:30. So it was 9 kilometers an hour for 48 hours.
So for 48 hours, she ran at like 28-minute 5K pace.
Yeah, and you have to remember too. So, like, she's stopping and
Sorry,
eating.
sorry, just over 30-minute 5K pace. My bad. Sorry.
Yeah, yes. So, but really, she's running faster because, and I mean, she doesn't stop much, but there's breaks in there, right? So probably changing shoes. She's eating. So
Got to go to the can.
right, you're going to like there's breaks. She maybe took a nap. I don't really know. And so she's really running faster. Like I'm gonna guess she probably was more like a 5 to 5:30 the whole time, which that's remarkable. And then has her stops along the way, maybe between a 5 and a 6, and then you add in her stops. But she's still covered an average of 9 kilometers every hour for 48 hours
Wow.
and around a track. So she ran 1,088 laps of a 400-meter track.
That is so boring.
That is so boring. Like I used to race the 10,000 on the track a couple times in my life. Oh my gosh, that's boring. That's 25 laps.
Yeah, we had to do that for Hunter's bloody thing, didn't we?
Oh,
The
it just
six
it didn't have to
mile.
be on the track. You could do it on the track. But
Well,
yeah,
track was the only fair way to do it.
yes, yes. But yeah.
Are you doing that? Are you doing this the battle bunker one or the no, you're doing the grit games one.
Yeah.
Where are you getting the ball? Like I looked at it, I'm like, where am I gonna get a ball? I can't get a ball. I've had people message me, you got a 100-pound ball? I'm like, no.
No, I don't. I don't have an 80 pound. I was gonna ask some gyms around and see if they had one. Yeah, I don't know yet.
So if you can help, write us at Bethany needs a big ball. P.O. Box
Bethany only
OFX.
has small balls.
There you go. Somebody can help. Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons actually I'm not doing this one. I kind of like some of the stuff there, but there were so many things where I did not have the prescribed weight. I
Yeah,
think I'm just going to do the workouts with what I have.
yeah, just for
Especially the last one or two. I really like the look of those.
hmm
So I'm gonna kick in on those ones. And then probably do the same with the battle bunker one as well.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I would like to participate in kind of well, I really would have liked to done the Grit Games one, but it's just I can't get the stuff together in
yeah.
time. It's
Well,
just
and like really, I'm not going to go and buy a ball that I'm
no.
realistically not going to use, except for like, I have to roll it out of the way in the gym. And then once in a while, people are like, oh, try to pick up a heavy ball for fun. Like, we don't really use balls that are that heavy.
Yeah. And again, like I will put that out there when you're making a virtual competition, you need to make it easy for people to do. Like
Yeah.
not as an easy to to do
You
the
know what?
actual thing, but
You know
easy
what
to
I just
acquire
thought
the
of?
stuff. What's
What I
that?
might do? So I get all my stuff from the same fitness store. I know the guy really well. I might just go and say, can you give me 5 minutes with your 80-pound ball? That's all I want. And then I'll videotape it in the store and my 5 minute now I can't do it that many times anyways, and then I'm done.
What is the actual word? It's over the shoulders?
Yeah, it's as many over the shoulders as you can do in 5 minutes.
That's a lot. Like that's and
Mhm.
that is, but I mean that's double the weight of what you normally do for over the shoulders.
Yeah, yeah. Huh.
That's still, I mean, that's still gonna be a lot of that. I would
I'm
think
gonna
he
do it
might
in
let
the
you do that.
store. I'm gonna do it in the store.
What's the floor like there? Is it like
It's
a
a warehouse.
oh okay, yeah, you're fine then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's my
yeah.
plan.
I bet you'll do it. Just make sure you video it properly the first time.
Yes, right.
By the way, we should re-release that video that you did, right? The one with the online competition.
Oh, yes,
So
the virtual.
back when virtual competitions were happening all over the time, right? For COVID,
Hmm.
a lot of people kept making the same mistake. So Riley made this nice video of things to remember in virtual competition, like
Hmm.
camera angles and making sure your dog's not in the way and making sure you know all this stuff. It actually is it's a goofy little thing, but it's a hell of a video. I think we're gonna re-release that for people in Tag, Battle Bunker, and
Yeah.
uh, Grit Games.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I still think we should do one eventually.
Yeah, we will. We
One
will.
day, one day. Test
Hmm.
pilot. It'd
Yeah.
be fun. I enjoyed the virtual competitions. They were great.
Hmm. I did
Mm.
too, actually.
Like I loved the VCF and when RX1 did theirs and
Hmm.
uh Deka had their Deka Open, which is like the most rare Deka shirt you can get. Got one. That's right.
Hmm.
And I podiumed third place overall.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. That got me a medal, which I think I had to pay for. But I don't know. Anyway, lots of good stuff coming out. And yeah, and back to the girl. That was a really impressive record, and I don't think that one's going to get broken by. How many people do it?
Yeah, I have no idea actually. So this was part of like a 48-hour festival, and there was a bunch of people that started. I have no idea. I
Yeah,
don't know.
like I do. You know, there's going to be a small sample size of people who have actually attempted this.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, I don't really know. I didn't look into that. We have a Canadian who's actually from Ontario who has the Canadian 48-hour record, and it's in the 400s still.
Is it? Wow.
Hmm.
Oh, by the way, our record got knocked off,
Yes, I saw that. Yeah.
and it got knocked off hard.
Yeah, like a minute.
So my first thought was they cheated for sure, and
Had to have.
had to have. So then I looked them up, and it turns out that they're just really fit and they seem like really nice people. It's the worst.
Based on their Instagram.
Yes. Well,
I'm sure they
I congratulated him, and he said, "Hey, you know, someone had to finally knock you guys off." And
yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah. And I told him, but you know what? We're gonna come back and we're gonna be faster, and
Hmm.
we're gonna see him in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Row down.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a 22-second bike.
Oh boy. You have to be able to move after.
No,
No, I'll
no, I
just
don't.
finish.
You just finished.
My only contribution.
All I got.
Yeah.
But yes. So congratulations to them. And in all seriousness, yes, we will be hunting. It
Hmm.
is definitely on the agenda. So,
Yeah.
all right, Beth, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks so much, everyone. And tune in this weekend to OCR Report. We will be doing the commentary again for the next Savage race. So
No, Decafit, North Carolina, or not
Decafit.
Decafit,
I said Savage.
NorCal.
I had
You said
Savage on
Savage.
my mind. Decafit. Yeah, NorCal.
All right, talk to you later.